Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age on the MysteriousJG. And we're getting ready to do something I've kind of been dreading. Got a full map in front of me, and it's still going to be a big hassle. We're going to do the optional levels of the Great Crystal. I don't know how many videos this is going to take. Don't know how many failures I'm going to have. Because you remember how we had like those Zodiac sign-oriented gates? You would find like a locked gate and you had to touch a certain thing, and you know, if you touch the I think it was, let's see, like the Pisces gate, the Pisces shrine, you could unlock Pisces gates. Yeah, the same thing is at play here, but there's a lot more of them, and on the highest tier you have a time limit, and if you touch the quote Pisces thing and you don't reach the Pisces gate in time, you lose the ability to manipulate Pisces gates. And I think gates close behind you, like you can only have one unlocked at a time. It gets pretty complicated. I invite anybody who's curious about this to actually Google Great Crystal Map and look and see how convoluted it gets. Bearing in mind that the treasure placement is different between the original PS2 version and the Zodiac Age version, but the actual map itself is not. So one last thing before we get in there, let's assign our recently acquired, because I hadn't bothered to do that. Let's assign, because I did off screen figure out who I want to have what. We will assign our new Espers. We are going to give Chaos to Balthier, because it gives him access to immediate access to, well, he'll get Holy and Etsunaga whenever we actually come across those, and immediate access to Protectga. But mostly this is so that once he gets Holy, as our Black Mage, he'll have attack magic for any foe once he has Holy. And that's pretty much the point there. I don't remember if it gave him anything useful on the other, well, never mind, that's a monk skill, but on the Black Mage board, I don't know that he really got anything for, what is it? It is the bright blue one, is Chaos. So it gives him nothing on that board. And then we have another Esper coming. By the time we're done with the optional mazes here and dungeons, we'll have another optional Esper. And I think that one's going to go to Fran. Penelo is going to come out of this still with no optional Espers. But oddly enough, Shemhazai, even though it doesn't give him anything on the Archer board, based on what it gives him on the Red Mage board, which is access to Cleanse and Asuna, since I've kind of got our battle party divided between the boys and the girls, and we're trying to use Bash as our primary healer, White Mage on the boys team, he's getting Shemhazai just because it gives him Asuna, which is, somebody needs to have that in any party. And eventually he'll get Cleanse. I don't remember exactly what Cleanse does, but I think it's a pretty damn useful spell if I remember correctly. I think it's like Asuna. It might be like, it sounds like it's Asuna with healing, but I don't really remember for sure. So we're going to return to the crystal. Go through the bulwark here. In the interest of full disclosure, I did goof around a little bit off screen with this and confirm that I can get to the optional Esper at the end of this maze, but actually exploring every nook and cranny and getting all the treasures I did not do. And there's actually two optional bosses in the crystal, but one of them we can't actually interact with yet. I could go to the room that it's at and just see what happens if you try to interact with it early, but we actually kind of have to have at least unlocked all the other super bosses in game before we can deal with it. But there's a Esper, optional Esper, which in my mind always counts as being a super boss, because they're always higher end enemies than the story bosses that you can encounter at the same point in the story. And a non-Esper. Alright, so we are located now in a paraphrase. And again, if you go and actually look this up on the internets, there's even explanations for what the different the naming conventions mean. It has to do with the level vertically and how far we are from the core of the crystal. But it's kind of not that useful to you otherwise. So what we're going to do is try to go... We have this door blocking us here. Gate Scorpio. So if I recall correctly, moving up took us to a Scorpio thing that we couldn't interact with before. But now we will be allowed to. Because basically you have to clear this main plot stuff before you're allowed to do anything with it. The device wakens in the presence of the treaty blade, which of course we got by advancing past the plot of this area. We got it from those evil god guys. Voiceless words chime within your head. For my master's chosen and no other, the way will I lay open. So now we've activated it. We've also got the Mom Bomb, which I vaguely recall as a rare drop has one of the items that we need for something. Oh, something else I forgot to mention. I meant to do a video showcasing this. I'll have to do it later. Everybody has ribbons now, at least all of the active party members do. And that has to do with me having grinded. And again, all of this is coming from the Final Fantasy Wiki. Never would have figured all this out on my own. But that has to do with grinding for an enemy that's actually called Level 99 Red Chocobo. I guess it's a reference to a prior game. It's a reference to Final Fantasy Tactics, actually, where if you power level against... you power level in the repeatable battles, and you make yourself way too strong for the plot battles. But the random battles, the enemies' levels are based on your level in Final Fantasy Tactics. The plot battles, the levels of enemies are consistent, but the random battles are scaled with you. So attempting to power level in Final Fantasy Tactics has an unusual impact. The plot battles get easier, but every time you trigger a random battle, it's much harder. And Red Chocobos, which are kind of a pain, potentially, if you fight through the plot, as they get high level, they get really nasty. But in this game, I'll have to make another video showcasing it. There's techniques. The level 99 Red Chocobo has an extremely low encounter rate. But there's tricks that you use to actually farm them, and they always drop the ribbon. I did a little bit of off-screening all about having the wiki open in front of me and trying to figure out how to get the items necessary to make some of the most high-end recipes. And by recipes, I mean you sell stuff in the guild hall and get stuff like super weapons and whatever. Actually, did I get any of that stuff without showing off how I got it? No. I had intended to actually record some videos last week and never got around to it, so I'm actually kind of lost track of some of what I got in off-screening. But like if you were to look at my loot, I'm going to need to actually organize this and figure it out. But I've got stuff like wyvern wings, things I went out of my way to, like gem steals, things I went out of my way to acquire specifically because it's going to give me through the bazaar system very specific weapons that I want and items and stuff. But I haven't actually bothered to sell any of them in the bazaar on this save, so oops, probably should have figured that out. So anyway, we are now at a Vicari Daban, which is kind of the starting point, more or less, for the optional dungeons. So we got nowhere to go except this waystone, which will warp us up to a room called Da Vicari Caboni, because the names are goofy. There's only one way out of this room, but we will see, as you'll see, it's much darker looking. And we'll start fighting different higher-end monsters around here, although I'm going to try to ignore them and just navigate the maze. So this takes us to a room with 2 different gates. They're both opened with the same type of key. And, oh, this is something I kind of forgot about. I'm going to have my laptop falling asleep. Nothing happens. There must be a corresponding device elsewhere. So this is actually... We can warp back to this room from the tippity top of the crystal once we figured out how to get there. But we kind of have 2 paths that ultimately terminate in the same place here, so we're just going to follow this one. The room we were in, if you're following along at home, is Ivakari Kanbru Ra. And now we've come to a room full of bombs. Deban Jalam Pradi. But I'm going to kind of ignore the bombs if I can. If I can remember what button does that. I guess I'm not going to do that because I messed this up. So let's just take them out. Mass Destruct is nasty. Chain reaction and Mass Destruct. Bombshells and fire crystals. Okay. So we're in Debam Jalam Pradi. And there's really only 2 ways to go. There's the way we came, and then if we just advance, and this is the button for fleeing. That's what I meant to be doing. This button will take us into a room that has a thing we can interact with. Probably monsters are going to spawn once we get in there. Yeah. I'm going to attempt to interact with this thing without fighting the monsters. They don't always let you do that. Okay, I better just try to fight them because it's really not working. It just doesn't... Here we go. Sometimes it... There we go. Touch the device. Touch it. Now, there's no time limit here, and we've almost beaten the monsters, so I'm just gonna go ahead and finish them off. But this kind of nonsense will drain your MPs. I'm gonna go down... Oh, no, there is a timer out. Okay. I guess I thought the timer doesn't start until the next couple levels up. But the next levels up get a lot more complicated, so the timer here isn't as... really is imperative. We are going to flee past this guy and not get drawn into more combat, though. So, I'm going to do a little experiment here. Open this one, and now I want to go back and do this again and see if I can have them both open at the same time. Because I'm not really 100% clear on whether that's going to be allowed or if one of them is going to close. Isolating these guys is a good idea, although more of them seem to disappear. If I let Ash actually fight, she does good damage, particularly if she gets a combo. Disable is real handy. Alright. Nothing annoying about those background noises either, game. I'm enjoying those. Thanks for all that. This is just a lot of enemies. Okay, so let's make sure our gambits are for I've got gambits that were kind of set for my battles against level 99 red chocobo. So let's go with not letting my laptop screen go into sleep mode. Let's go with lowest HP to try to get everybody focused in on the same enemy. That's not what I meant to switch. Oh, here's something I guess I probably didn't notice, that because of my strategies, I just didn't have him attacking at all. So that's probably one reason things haven't been all that efficient. So yeah, killing off these guys as fast as possible by concentrating on, you know, actually finishing things off once they get hurt, not spreading the damage around evenly, is a good idea. I'm not going to put a ton of effort into defending against fire because we won't be fighting only these guys. We'll be facing other monsters with other elementals, I'm sure. Alright. So let's see if we can just have these both be open, because that'll really help us out, particularly if they are marked as like Pisces Gate 1, Virgo Gate 1, Virgo Gate 2. Maybe if we hit them in the right order, they'll all stay open. So we're back to having the timer going, which means it probably is to our advantage to run through the next room and not fight any bombos that we might encounter. Although it looks like we fought the enemies in this room, killed the enemies in this room enough times without moving really far away from this room to respawn them that it's actually clear. No. So it even though we hit the one marked 1, it didn't really care for us. Doesn't want us to have 2 open at the same time. So let's go this way and figure out where we ended up. So we ended up at a Vakuri Shiru Pra, which gives us easy access to 2 of the treasures, and then we can backtrack and make our way to the other treasure. So let's go ahead and get 2 of the treasures. By warping on up. There's kind of like 3 levels. We're warping up to 1. So the first one's pretty short. The second one is kind of navigable, and I think we can get all the treasures there. The third one, I can get to the Esper boss, but figuring out how to get to all of the treasures looks like it's going to be a real pain in the butt. So we are now at Da Vikari Devan. This isn't where I thought we were going. Hold on. Oh, it's not quite where I thought we were going to end up. This map is slightly off, but it's not a problem. It kind of pointed... Yeah, no, that's not where I thought we would end up, but it's okay. It doesn't make it different. We ended up in the room right next to the one where I thought we would land. So this is Sirhu Pelem. Okay. We need to come this way eventually, but let's go this other way first. I'm perfectly fine with enemies not spawning in every single room. I'm actually totally cool with that. This room will almost certainly have enemies. Let's go ahead and just take care of them. I hate these teleporty around guys. Vial of Ambrosia. Okay. suppose there's no reason not to be frame skipping. Alright. So, if we go this way, we'll immediately encounter a gate that we need this to get past. So let's just go ahead and touch this and get on with it. Oh, and another guy shows up. Gate timer's running, but I think we're still fine. Call me crazy. These guys didn't appear until we hit that gate stone. Okay. Now if we go this way, we should immediately hit a gate. Jerks. I'm trying to full clear this room just in the hopes that enemies won't respawn here, because I think we're going to have to come back eventually. Although actually, now that I look at it, maybe not. We might be able to navigate so we never need this room again. Bacchus's wine. We will serve no wine before it's time. Paul Messel. This is Sirhu Polem Paradi. This isn't the way that I thought we were going. This map looks like it's slightly off. It's funny because I was using it the other day and it was fine. So if this is going the way I thought it was... okay, so I'm really confused now. The map is not going quite how I thought it was. Something is labeled funky. And I know we're about to run out of time on this timer, but I might not care. Okay, I definitely care. I'll go ahead and hit this, but... just we might as well. But we are at Sirhu Jilampra. Yeah, we didn't go the way I meant to, but there's still a treasure chest that we need to get here, and unfortunately it's not on the other side of that gate. So that's kind of strange. Alright, well let's, I'm misreading the map or something. So let's go this path here. This should take us to a room called Sirhu Jilam Prativa, where we should have a treasure chest. But it didn't. It took us to Sirhu Pispra. Okay, I think... Ooh, I got really turned around. Okay. Sorry, I think I know where we need to go now. I think I know what happened. I think on the earlier level when we took that warp zone, I misread what room we ended up in. So now we're in Sirhu Jilam Pradi. And I'm going to keep going the way we just came and get back to that room that has the gate, but I'm really just going to ignore the gate. Or it has the thing that lets you activate gates. I'm just going to ignore it because we don't need it for this treasure that I want to go after. I just need to find a way out of this room that isn't the one we just came. Those rooms with the ghosts in particular, it looks like you can just kind of ignore them because they just keep respawning at a rate that makes it not worth dealing with them. So this video is not a caliper. Okay, there are random treasures, or ones that aren't marked in this guide because they're just not considered that important. But I want to say a caliper is one of those weird... I was going to say I thought it might be one of those weird items that you equip that, like, guilt measure tools. Yeah, so we already had one of those, but it gives haste when somebody's hit by it. but it's not one of the main things we're after. So let's just kind of ignore it. That's the way we came, so... Hold on, what room are we in that I can't find a way out? Sirhu, Pulam, Brava. There's supposed to be a treasure chest in here. This is where one of the rooms we've been trying to get to, but there was supposed to be a treasure chest in here. So let's try killing all the enemies, and then if this doesn't work, I'm really going to need to rethink. Because like I said, even with the map, I'm completely freaking turned around now. This room is marked as having one of the main treasures of the zone. Okay. Sirhu, Pulam, Prava. Maybe I got confused and I already off-screen grabbed some treasure? But this place should have Staff of the Magi. Sirhu, Pulam, Prava should have Staff of the Magi. So let me check my equipment and make sure I don't already have Staff of the Magi, because if I do, I'm a goof, and I already cleared this zone. But I don't think I've got the Staff of the Magi. Wouldn't be this early on my list of items anyway. Well, unless somebody else has got it equipped. Yeah, I didn't think this was a slot where I'd already done anything in here. So maybe we just gotta kill everything in the room. Yeah, these are the annoying ones who occasionally just do a spell called Divide, where they just frickin' full strength version of the same enemy pops up. We're getting early high chain level now. Okay, not sure why there's no Staff of the Magi here. Other than leaving and coming back, I don't know what to do. Or having more enemies spawn. I guess that would be one way to stop you from just... Sky Jewel, eh? That would be one way to stop you from just kind of jerking around and grabbing items that you shouldn't be able to get yet by retreating from everything and just quick speed running through the dungeon. It's like, no, the actual real main treasure room, you need to clear all the enemies, and there's going to be a lot of them. Although I don't want to let them trick me into leaving the room. Man, Redis dies a lot. Oh, he keeps getting doomed because he doesn't have ribbon. Repeated doom slams. So this is kind of frustrating because I'm looking at the frickin' map. Sirhu Pulham Prava is supposed to have... Because I went through... I mean, the map was working for me the other day when I off-screened and just got my way up to the Esper. But this room should have Staff of the Magi. And it seems like it does not. I don't think you're supposed to get them in a particular order. They're just numbered this way for this guide. I do have a map of the non-Zodiac version. And it has Sirhu Pulham Prava... This is arranged a bit differently, so I'm having a hard time finding it. It has the same room as including the Maximilian Shield, or the Demon's Shield. So, yeah, this is supposed to be one of the big treasure rooms, and I'm not finding a big treasure in it. I mean, I guess, you know what? It might work the same as other rooms. It doesn't spawn 100% of the time. Some treasures work that way. So I guess keep fighting stuff until the room is cleared, and then just enter and leave the room until a treasure chest spawns. I suppose I could do that. It's annoying, but it'll eventually work. Certainly getting some experience from all this fighting of these guys, I would think. Alright, let's just leave and come back. I mean, I don't mind calling it a video after... even if we only get one treasure on this first video. And we had 2 party members level up there. Ash lagging slightly behind for whatever reason. Okay. If this is Staff of the Magi, we're good. Yeah, okay. Got panicky over nothing. I guess it's just even these pre-positioned ones in this dungeon, they still do the old treasure chest doesn't have 100% chance to appear. So screw you, Final Fantasy XII. When it comes to treasures and stuff, Final Fantasy XII really dicks you around in a way that no other Final Fantasy game has ever done. Anyway, I'm going to call it a video. When we come back, we're going to go to where I meant to go earlier in this video, so that we can acquire Yagyu Darkblade, which is like a ninja weapon that Van will be able to wield, which will be super useful in 1 or 2 battles only. And not a bad weapon overall, but it'll be 1 or 2 battles, which is really useful. And we'll also get Shelga magic. We've had Protect Ga for forever. For some reason, they decided to make Shelga really hard to get in this game. I anticipate us being able to get that in the next video. I'm hoping we can be able to then get to the next level and get Haste Ga and Artemis Bow. But I actually haven't gotten them off screen at any point. I was, however, able to get to the optional boss, the optional Esper. Remember, there's 2 optional bosses. The optional Esper boss we can get to now without clearing any other additional plot stuff first. And it also, that room that it's in is also the room where you get the Excalibur in this game. At least in the Zodiac Age version. In the other versions of the game, well, actually, it doesn't mark what treasure you get there, but I think you might get Excalibur in the same way in these 2 games. A lot of the treasures are different. Anyway, that's it for this video. When we come back, more of this super annoying crystal. See you then.